Welcome back to my channel, Skincare with Debra Dianne. Today we're going to be talking to Edie Summers. She is the author of The Memory of Health. And we are going to be asking her some questions. She is not only an author, she is a survivor of chronic fatigue syndrome. And sometimes we don't even realize that we may have a chronic illness. And so we're going to figure out some tips and tricks on how to identify and using our body as a communicator, using our skin as a communicator, and how we can listen to our body. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, but more than that, let's share it on your social media pages. You never know what contacts you have that could be suffering from a chronic illness. So having this out there can help people in your community, whether it is social community or actually your physical community, and we can help people. So let's work together and get this video out. Go ahead and stay tuned. You don't want to miss this interview. Thank you so much, Edie, for joining us today. So the first question I want to ask you is, what is chronic fatigue syndrome, and what is the difference between that and, let's say, insomnia?
Okay, great questions. So chronic fatigue syndrome, I can't give the whole definition, it's pretty long, but the short definition is if you have kind of persistent fatigue for more than 6 months, it could be chronic fatigue syndrome. And there are other symptoms that go with it even beyond chronic fatigue, like not being able to kind of recover from exercise. There can be other symptoms as well. But insomnia sometimes can accompany it, which makes sense. I mean, if you're kind of stressed out from being exhausted, or sometimes your cortisol levels are reversed, that can keep you up. But insomnia is also its own thing. So it's where people have trouble falling asleep, or waking up in the middle of the night, which again, of course, can happen with CFS too. But it's its own thing. Insomnia is its own thing, and it can be acute or chronic. So it can be like a couple nights, or it can go on. But CFS is usually you're exhausted for months on end, and there's doesn't seem to be any end in sight. And you might have joint pain too, or pain as well, and a lot of other issues.
So if you are a person who is in a chronic state of stress, let's say there's constant stress all around you, and you are always tired because of that stress, maybe you're not eating right, you're really busy, just a lot of different avenues that is your normal, right? What are some signs to look for so a person can say, oh, you know what, this might be affecting my health in a chronic way, and how can a person break this cycle?
Okay, so those are great questions. So I want to say that what you're describing almost sounds like burnout. And burnout is different than CFS, but burnout is kind of burning the candle at both ends. And you might feel exhausted, or a good sign of that would be that you feel like overwhelmed and you feel like you've lost your motivation, in addition to feeling exhausted. And it's usually from working too much or kind of pushing yourself. And in our society, we tend to do that. So that's its own thing. And but I think a lot of people are dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety right now. So, but I would say, to maybe answer your question in a short way, if you're feeling overwhelmed a lot, or kind of feel like you just don't want to do anything, that can be a sign that you've had too much stress and anxiety. And on top of that, being diagnosed with CFS is another whole other ball game. But sometimes people who have kind of pushed their bodies too far can potentially develop CFS too. But I would say what you're describing sounds like burnout. And a good sign would be that you have lost your motivation. You just don't feel like doing anything anymore. Or for example, like if you normally feel like you're a very, like you and I are probably closer to type A's, mostly.
Yeah, I'm a very much type A person.
Yeah, you might be a little more than me. I have a little bit of B in me. But if I find myself not wanting to do stuff, then I know I've been doing too much.
Okay, so that kind of leads me into the next question I have. The importance of listening to your body. How important, especially someone who has, a chronic illness, let's just focus on that.
Okay.
How important is it to have that connection with your body and listen to your body and not push it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is one of the most important questions. And honestly, this is one of the biggest things that's helped me is really slowing down and listening to what my body is saying to me. And it's really an ongoing thing. And I find it's one of the most effective tools because, whether you're feeling exhausted from burnout, which I think maybe isn't considered a chronic condition, but it feels like it, or CFS or something else, depression, anxiety, the tool of being able to use that kind of mindfulness to slow down, go at a different pace, and actually hear what your body's saying to you. Your body has like its own voice. And most of us are going at the pace where we don't even hear it.
Right.
So I think it's invaluable. And your body has tons of things to tell you, and symptoms are your allies. There's signals. Your body's trying to send you signals. So you can just let yourself take it down a couple notches and really listen. Your body is so wise. That's been the biggest thing that helps me, and I have to do it every day.
Yeah.
So, but it may help. It can make a big difference. So,
kind of like knowing when to say no, knowing your boundaries.
Yeah. You have to kind of have boundaries with yourself too, and you can't just do everything under the sun. We all need to sleep, and we all need downtime. Mm-hmm. Process things. And I find that listening to your body is like a practical form of mindfulness. Mm-hmm. So it's really practical.
So along with that, let's take that a step further and listening your actual skin reaction. Because on my channel, I always say, your skin is the communicator, right? How does your skin react when you've reached your limit? Or is there something that you've noticed as far as your skin?
Definitely. So even now, like I broke out a little bit, but it's pretty small. But I have to tell you, in my early 20s, when I first developed symptoms with chronic fatigue, I didn't break out as a teen too much. But in my early 20s, I broke out all throughout here. And it was my hormones were out of balance. Mm-hmm. And it was from a number of factors, but maybe taking prescription drugs and being super stressed out and not knowing how to eat for my body. But definitely your skin will show you if you've been stressed or if your hormones are out of balance, and I'm sure much more. So I should send you that picture if I can find it. or not.
We can do a before and after.
Yeah. But I have a couple of those.
So in your book, your amazing book, that personally, I have to say that I love this book because not only was it your journey, but it gave how to heal through not only physical, but mental and spiritual. It was like your journey along with a step-by-step guide to heal yourself. And I absolutely love this book. But there's a lot of quotes that I could take. There was one that really hit me, and it was, I'm going to read it right off of your book here. It says, focusing on my strengths and experiencing life as loving and positive was a game changer for me. It can be for you too. So you have to choose to see and experience life as positive. And then you say what matters are two things. First, how you react two events will sway the outcomes. And then the second, when we take our ego out of the equation, life is modified. Things that were essential hardly seem relevant. So this kind of, as I was kind of going through your book, you know, before we talked, because I had read it probably about when it first came out about a year ago. And one of the things that hit me is bringing this to the present time. You know, we have, as you mentioned, we have a ton of new stresses. We have these words being fed to us like the new normal and uncertain times. And you know, it makes us not really have control of our lives. And even now, you know, besides for like the COVID that's out, and besides for now we have these violence with these riots that are coming, you know, out. What could you give to our listeners? Like, what is your advice on how to stay positive during these times?
I think so one thing that really helps me is, so for some of us who have already been dealing with like chronic conditions or trauma, which honestly is most of us at this point, we've all kind of been through trauma. That's kind of something we all have in common now, is I just find like taking deep breaths really helps. I mean, it might sound really trivial, but it actually helps calms your nervous system down. And then, trying to find those bright spots, you know, like focus on the positive part. So obviously the violence in, you know, rioting and violence isn't good. Hopefully social change is being made too. So that's a positive. Maybe a positive in COVID-19 is, I mean, we've had a chance to come together virtually. Hopefully we can translate that, you know, to more of the physical world once we can get back out there. But I would say you know, if any, like the most important thing is like, be conscious of what you tell yourself, like really focusing on even anything that you can find that's positive in your day, even the small things, like, and try to amplify those. And it makes a difference. It helps your nervous system calm down, take some deep breaths, tell yourself that you're doing the best you can, and kind of we're all making our way through this new normal. We've all kind of strangely unified in some way. At least we had that with the virus. Now we're potentially, hopefully we'll find a way to keep unifying. But I think, you know, being positive is not a trivial thing.
Yeah.
So really try to find those things that you can, that help you feel more optimistic, I would say.
I love what you said about the self-talk. Like
the self-talk,
you know, and there's a certain things that you break, you know, that telling yourself, like when you make a mistake, like, I hate this word, so I'm not going to take it on, but I'm going to say it. Don't take it on. Is when you make a mistake, you're like, oh, I'm so stupid. Like, those little things are so damaging because you're not stupid. You know, you're brilliant. You have a brilliant mind. And so those like self-talk can really drag you down, and people don't even realize that. You know, you can create your own trauma by your self-talk, right?
Yeah. Well, our bodies are listening. You were talking about body earlier. So anything that you're saying to yourself, your subconscious, which is your body, and this is not my idea. This is Candace Pert's idea from, she called it your body is your subconscious mind, but you want to be really careful of, it's almost like a computer, like the software is it's your talk, it's your self-talk. And so what you say to yourself, your body takes literally. Well, that's why you want to be so conscious. You want to be conscious of how you're programming yourself. And it makes a difference, like those little things you say to yourself. We all make mistakes. I mean, I probably made one this morning, you know, when my cat woke me up at 4 a.m. You know, I could have been a little more positive, but I wasn't quite awake yet. You know, but you also like let it go and, you know, reboot just like a computer, and focus on the good stuff and make progress, you know.
So, Edie Summers, what can we expect from you in the future? Do you have any new projects coming out? What's going on?
Well, actually, I know you wanted me to mention I do have a podcast, which I hope you'll come on again. That's on Blog Talk Radio. Nice. It's called The Wellness Coach. I'll probably do some more podcasts, but I'm also doing a project, like a collaborative book and project and conference with Angelina Musique it's all about enterprising women, and women are becoming entrepreneurs more and more, and she's all about empowering women. And so I'm really excited for that project to come out and to meet more women who are really taking control of their own kind of financial destiny, but also kind of personal power.
Yeah.
So, and I know you're an entrepreneur too, so I mean that's how we met. So
I would love to talk to you just about that.
Yeah, I love doing collaborative projects. So I'm really excited for that. And I'm looking forward to having you on my podcast too. So.
I will be there anytime. Well, I will have you links to your podcast below so people can get connected with the wellness coach. And especially if they have any questions for you personally, that's a great way of contacting you. Definitely picking up the book, and there'll be links down below in the description on where you can purchase The Memory of Health by Edie Summers. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. We are so grateful for you and everything that you've done as a survivor. And we look forward to talking with you again very soon.
Debra, I hope so too. And congratulations on your new YouTube channel and business. And yay.
It's so much fun. It's just putting out there, I want to help people. I want to encourage people. And this is just a fun way to do it, while we're in quarantine. Why not?
Yes, actually, I totally agree. More power to you. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Great to see you.